Please click the subscribe button and the notification icon. It will help us a lot.
Well, first of all, I would say figure out your like top 10 artists of all time. And I'm not talking about animation, just like generally, like of all the art you've seen, of all the stuff, like what really moves you? What are your top 10? And then maybe after that, do an animation version of like, okay, who are the top 10 people doing what you want to do right now? Who has the career that you want, right? And I think that's going to tell you so much about yourself. It's going to tell you so much about what you enjoy. I think you look at that and then you look at the work you're making, right? And you go, okay, if I really love this, why am I making this? Like for me, I really love Christian Andersen in kids' books. He does all these collage things and they're so beautiful. I love Miroslav Sasek. I love all these people who are so graphic. And I do come from a traditional painting background, but when I first got into animation, I think I felt like I had to work digitally all the time. And I do a big mix of both, working in stop motion. Again, thank goodness I get to use some of that other side too. But I kind of got away from myself for a minute and I kind of stumbled a little. Again, trying to make what I thought would make me successful. And I think constantly reassessing, what am I drawn to look at? What are the things that move me? What are the kind of things I wish I had made? And really breaking those down and going, okay, like how are these things similar? What am I seeing a trend of? Like what movies do I love? What do I wish I had made? And who are the people making that and what does their work look like? And I'm not saying to copy their work so much as just to go and look at the tone of that and look at, you know, the level of detail. Go get the art of books and see how they got there. You know, I think all of those things are what's important. I think really, really be a steward of your own direction. Then from there, you can go and you can look at like, okay, say your model is me. Say you really want to do the things that I've done, which was your prompt to begin with. I do have a lot of traditional art skills, and I think that helps a lot with stop motion. I think that being able to sculpt and knowing how a form turns in space and you know, traditional painting, those kinds of things, knowing how something might be practically built, that makes me a better designer for stop motion. That helps me understand that a little bit better. But I also think if you want to do that, I think knowing that like if you're constantly pursuing making the best work you're capable of and sharing that, I just don't think that we have enough trust that if we make the work, people will show up. Because I think that's absolutely true. Like, I think I used to worry. So one thing that happened, like after I left Laika, and then I went up and I was color stylist. Well, so when I left Laika, they just didn't really have an art position for me on the next thing. And I had been a PA after being an intern, and I felt really like, oh man, this was such a great experience. But I'm around all this art every day, and I think I'd be too frustrated to come back and try to be a PA again. Like I'm so grateful for the time I did that, and I think it was really good for me. But I knew that in order to get where I wanted to be, I needed to be making art all the time. And I didn't want to be so close to it and not get to touch it, right? So I left, and when I left, I felt like, oh God, like I'm not going to be able to get anything else. I was so stupid to walk out of there. What was I doing? But within like a month or two, somebody from Dreamworks called me and they're like, hey, you know, we've been looking at your stuff. We like your color sensibility. Would you want to be color stylist? I was color stylist on The Adventures of Puss in Boots, which is a TV show for Netflix, just in the beginning, kind of briefly. And it was because even while I was interning and being a PA at like on Boxtrolls and all that, I was making my own work and I was putting it online. And the work that I was making was just stuff to learn. Like I would make a painting. Like when I first moved here, I was overwhelmed by the fact that we live in the middle of a forest. I don't know if you've ever been to Portland, but it's like, I grew up in the South and it's very brown everywhere. And here it's like trees and beautiful plants everywhere. And that was crazy to me. And so I made this whole painting about that, just trying to capture that feeling of like, what is this and what does it feel like? So it was like me asking myself questions that I was interested in and making work that I was excited about. And it didn't occur to me that I was making that work to get another job. I was just making it because I liked making it. And somebody had seen it and they found me. And when I left Laika, I also sent work. I tried to interview with House Special, which was technically part of Laika. So you would think, as somebody who was a Laika employee, that like, oh yeah, I could go and talk to them and that's no big deal. I sent an email. I might have sent a couple emails and I never heard back. So it was really, I couldn't force that situation, right? So I left, I went and did Puss in Boots for a little bit, which I was so grateful that they kind of found me and made me feel like, oh, I can get art jobs. And then I left there and came back to Portland, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought, oh, am I going to have to move to LA? I don't know, because there wasn't much in town other than Laika. And I got a call from House Special at this point because they had just separated from Laika, and they found my work on Twitter. So I had been in their company, and I had tried to approach them in my way, but it didn't work for them, probably because they probably weren't looking for my job at that point, or just, you know, bandwidth can be the issue a lot of the time. But just because I had kept making work and putting it online, they found me. And they were like, oh, hey, we just saw, are you here in Portland then? Because we have this thing, and we think you might be a good fit. And it just lined up. And I've had a multi-year relationship with them, doing tons of freelance for them. And it's not something I could have crafted, right? It was, for me, about doing that work and putting it online and it being seen. I just worked with a studio this year in London, and I still don't know how they found me, Locksmith Animation, and I was doing development work on a film for them with some people that are like heroes of mine. I have no idea how they found my work, but it has to be just from consistently making stuff, putting it online. You know what I mean? So I think losing sight of trying to craft where your world's going to go, and again, making art that genuinely interests you is going to attract the right things to you. And for me, that's what has always worked, is like, the more honest artwork I can make, the more the right people, the people I really want to be working with, find me.